Hello and welcome to the Tenet Podcast. Today we have the honor and privilege of interviewing Jerry and Jay Jaramillo, both who are artists. Jerry, who's been a long time artist, and Jay, his son. This is kind of fun for us because we get a team, a dad and son team, and I don't know how often that happens, but I think that's pretty cool. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Let's get into it with Jerry. I'll start with you.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about the history of how you became an artist. Did you always want to be an artist?
Okay. See how things happen. Go right from the start. Okay. My dad died when I was 18 months old.
Oh, wow.
And so there was always somebody babysitting me. My mom had to go work, and I had three older brothers and sisters, and they would go to school. Well, so finally, my brother, when he was in preschool, there was a preschool 2 houses from my mom's house, and so the lady had two girls about my age. I got to go hang out with the little girls at 3 years old. And when they were doing art class, I just got into drawing and painting and playing with clay, some of that plastiline clay, the oil-based clay. And I put it on the furnace, and I start shaping out things. And I just fell in love with making three-dimensional things. And then, so that was like my start of being an artist at 3 years old. And then when it was my time to do it 2 years later, when I was 5, I was kind of showing kids how to play with clay and being more like a teacher and just playing around. I always enjoyed working with clay. So that was kind of like my first experience of being an artist. And then later on, I got into elementary school, and they had this one thing that paint the fire truck, or they had like a coloring kind of contest. I think it was 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. And if you win in your class, you get a ride on the fire truck. So I says, well, I want to be a fireman too. That's cool. So I got into that, and I used to do some crazy stuff. Like I even used to burn wood and put it into my drawings. It was like a 3-dimensional crayon and type of thing.
Even at that young age?
Yeah. So I was always experimenting with the crayons. Instead of I'd get the crayons and I'd get an eraser and I'd blend them in like I was doing like oil paints.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't know what I was doing, but I just inventing, just see what was going on. So it was always neat. And then through junior high, I developed a little writing style, kind of, how they do it on the streets now. But I was doing like love, peace, and different words.
So playing with type, playing with
lettering and different types of lettering, of flowing lettering that had like a little movement to it. And so the cheerleaders, they had me do their megaphones, for cheerleading. So I did all their names on there. And then I used to make posters and then book covers for kids, because we had new books at school, and everybody had to have a new book cover for the new books.
Oh, right.
And so,
like back in the day when you'd wrap the textbook, they required you to wrap the textbook in like a grocery bag or whatever, and then you'd make it your own. You'd produce art on it.
Then I'd do drawings on them, or get a little abstract, or like I said, do a lot of peace and love, different words on there. And so there was so many classes, like about 6 classes at the school. So I was doing it just about everybody's. It seemed like they go, hey, can you do that for me? And so my friend Rick Valenzuela, he was the one that would cut out the paper and shape it out, and then I'd do the artwork on it. So we had a little business going, so it's cool.
Nice. So even at this, what age group was this? What age was this?
I was 7th grade.
7th grade?
Yeah.
So you guys were actually monetizing that?
Yeah.
In 7th grade? You're like, hey, like people want this, and I could make a couple bucks or something.
Yeah. So they go, okay, Jerry. So I did my book cover right away, and everybody said, well, can you do mine like that? I go, well, everyone's different. And so I love drawing, so it didn't seem that much. So it seemed like we were charging $1 for a book cover, things like that. And didn't hardly take any time at all. And
it was fun.
Yeah. And then some were a little more expensive. I said, no, this is more work, so we're going to try something different. So So it was always fun. So
Nice.
So I think it's interesting that when you were talking about you used the eraser to blend like you were doing, I think the normal kid doesn't think that way. And here, so there must be some element of the artistic mind that makes you go out and actually try something that maybe you didn't even see.
Yeah.
I just think that's fascinating.
Well, see, I was fascinated by a movie, Agony and Ecstasy of Michelangelo doing the Sistine Chapel when I think I was probably about 10 years old also. And I go, wow, I want to do that. And I saw how he transferred different designs, put them on the wall with a pounce wheel, and then using the chalk to put it on the ceiling and then start painting on the wet plaster. And I go, I could do that. Through junior high and high school, I was always doing things like that and helping do sets for the plays at the high school. That was always fun, doing sets.
Because you had some artistic latitude, right?
Yeah. So
to do your thing.
And so I was in a couple musical plays, the South Pacific, and when I was a sophomore, and then Old Man River, and so I do the sets for those plays. Then my teacher goes, I think you had enough points to be a thespian, because like I'm doing all
right. You're participating in the process.
I was doing the musicals, and I didn't really have any speaking parts, but I was a good singer, so so I used to sing in all the musicals, and I'm a thespian.
You are a thespian. I mean, you were doing it, man.
Yeah, so had a good time.
So that element there, did that kind of, because when I think of a theater set,
large sets,
There's
the murals right there.
Yeah, so that kind of played into the large scale that you like to work in a lot of times, right?
Yeah,
like that was kind of probably your introduction to working in
just like
larger,
like a play Oklahoma when they have like big skies.
Mm-hmm.
I was going, okay, I could do that, and so I was using different techniques with it. We're using roller, but at rags at the same time to make the clouds. Have a good old time just making sets. That was fun.
What a great experience. I mean, that was like on the job training right there, right?
Yeah. I've always liked working a larger scale, so that was my introduction to it, pretty much.
Nice. Mm. So now we're in high school. You're a thespian. You're doing, not only other art, I assume, but you're doing these theater sets, show sets. From there, where do you go?
Okay. Here I used to do like a lot of, like in high school, I used to paint people's bikes, like motorcycles. I started doing motorcycles in college, building them. When I used to work at the CU Fine Arts Department, and there was a big old table there that I took all the stuff off it and put a motorcycle on top, and I started grinding away at it, taking all the things off, and I started molding Sportster tank to the frame, and then I was using like a thing called Durobond. It's a fiberglass that won't crack, and then I put Bondo on top of it to shape it. And while doing that, I made the motorcycle look really good, and we took it to a place called Moondog Enterprise. And this guy, his name is Yank. He liked me. He offered me a job working for him. So that's where I learned how to do like a lot of sanding, how to prep the paint jobs for the custom vans and stuff. And he's going, "You're one of the best sanders out there." So I think he was just trying to get me to do the hard work, the sanding part. And so I learned how to do all the basic right from the start and how to go about doing that. And then another guy named David Britton, he was the pinstriper there. So he was teaching me how to paint signs, and I was watching him pinstripe. And so I learned how to do a lot of that, which I haven't done for years.
But that's an art form unto itself.
Yeah. It's like a lot of precision, really, because you're doing mirror images on both sides, which is fun too, because you get into a zone on that. Just like
I imagine it's a little zen.
Yeah.
When you get into that, in that mindset.
Yeah. Because you're just going, well, it's just like anything when you're painting or sculpting, you get into it and just know where it's at. And, well, you think you know where it's at, and sometimes it comes out better than you think you're going to be doing it. So that's a good part there. So I learned how to do, we did the custom motorcycle And at Tri-State, that took first place in Radical Division. That was my first motorcycle. And so that was nice by shaping. I didn't do the painting of the artwork, but I did the molding and all that. I was really happy about that.
Yeah.
Then when I was over at CU, I was just doing my working at the fine art department helping other people put their projects together. And it seemed like everybody would come the day or two before their classes. They had to have their projects done for their final. So it seemed like I was always staying. Well, I worked from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and some nights I'd work till like about 1, helping other people finish up their projects because they didn't know. I don't know how to use a saw. I don't know how mostly women, and they're good looking too, so it was easy, to help them out.
There's some incentive there.
I'll stay for a little bit longer, yeah. But I used to help other people do their projects, and then by helping other people, other students, it seems like you learn more from other students than you do professors, and so that's what it said. I learn from just about everybody. I'm learning from Jay all the time too. So.
Yeah, because everybody has a different perspective, or their mind works just a little bit differently. Yeah, and you're like, you see somebody do something in a different way, and you're like, hey, I never thought about doing it that way. Yeah. That actually works really well. Yeah. I'll have to incorporate that.
Yeah, like a lot of times when you're painting, you don't know what the shortcut is, whatever. But sometimes you come up with something, and you go, oh, that's how you did it. So I have a lot of friends ask me, how did you come across that? I go, I don't know, just pretty much came out that way. So
yeah, experimentation or just doing it, and we're just like, hey, that works.
Just
for
something
me.
Visual I saw before, and I'm always trying different techniques. If you notice some of my style, I like to find found objects, and I like to incorporate them into make something out of them. Just something that's found. A lot of people throw away copper wire or different things. Like to make shapes out of copper wire and then coat them with plaster, fiberglass, or whatever, make different sculptures out of them. I'm always trying to stay busy with different techniques. Whatever's found, I go to junkyards and to throw stuff. Sometimes I bring back more stuff. So I could do something with that. I was trying to be creative.
So then from CU, where do you go from there?
Okay, well, I was at CU. I was artist in residence for United Mexican American students. It's called UMAS. And so what I did is I painted 12 large paintings, 4-foot by 8-foot paintings. And I had 2 assistants, Valerie Mendoza and Mike Garcia. And they helped me paint, do those. It was more like I used a lot of Aztec mythology and a lot of the paintings I did on those. So I got a job doing that. During the summer, I worked as construction with A&H Construction Company. They're the people that put up the running fence, Cristo, the artist Cristo. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
He's the one that did that big valley curtain over Rifle Valley curtain.
Yes.
Well, I had a piece of that curtain too, and so I had it in my studio over at CU. They asked me and Rudy Fernandez if we wanted to go help Cristo on that. There was another thing over in California. It was called the running fence, I think it was called. And it was a big old sheet that went 25 miles from Petaluma, California, to a quarter mile into the oceans. So it looked like a big sheet going through. And so I quit. Well, I just temporarily quit CU for a little bit to go work with that. And when I got there, they says, "Oh, we can't do this yet. We gotta wait till the highway department approves it." So I quit school, went over there, waited for a year. Then I came back to see you. They go, "Well, you got to pay your bills, your loans first," So I had like $2,000 or $3,000 loans. So I said, I'm good enough right now. I don't need to go back to college. So I moved to Brighton, lived in my grandmother's house. She was living with my aunt, so I was taking care of her house, doing my artwork. Then I did a mural at the University of Colorado at CU. They offered me to do a mural down there for the Student Center over at CU Boulder. So I did a mural there. It was 6 feet by 8 feet. It's called Snow Goddess. It has a flat iron as the background, and then has a woman being born out of the wind and snow. So I did that one at my grandmother's house, and then I took it to CU. And then I did another mural over for Brighton High School. I did an eagle with clips in the background, and that painting right there is 6 feet by 12 feet. I did it on masonite, but I did the claws so they stick out like about a half inch. So it's kind of sculptural, that mural. It's pretty neat. So I did that in Brighton, and then we were really having a great time in Brighton doing things like that, and some offer came up for me to go work with some other artists over in Denver. With that time when I was doing stuff at Boulder, I met another artist named Al Sanchez, and I told him, well, let's try to get something together sometime, maybe, because he did murals himself. So I says, let's try to get a program together. We have like other muralists come together. So we got together at the Archdiocese of Denver. That's when I met Al. So we took another artist friend of ours. I just met Steve pretty much. And I go, well, why don't you go down with us? So I met Steve Lucero. We took him down to the Archdiocese, talked to, forming a group we called ourselves CHOC, Chicano Humanities Arts Council. And Chalk is the rain god. I had a mural of Chalk Mool, the rain god, on the side of my mural of my van. I'll show you pictures. And so I had wraparound murals. I didn't have any windows in my van. I just had 4 different murals wrapped around. And so I pretty much lived in my van for a while, too. But that was a good experience. My van was kind of like home for Chalk for a while. You know,
you were like the mobile Chalk.
Yeah, we'd go to Colorado Springs, Pueblo, and try to recruit different artists. And then we go to Cheyenne and went to the state capitol, met other people to try to get other people interested in art if they wanted to be into the art program at Chalk. And you didn't have to be Chicano. You just had to be an artist. We had quite a few people joining Chalk at that time, and we'd have poetry readings, even bands would play, and then we'd have our art shows there. I had an art show over at Regis Tierra, and El Chicano came to town, and a few of us at Chalk, we had an art show at the Regis and things like that. So we'd always have different art shows going on and poetry readings, things like that. So Chalk was great. So that was like pretty much the start of Chalk. Then I did a mural over at La Familia Rec Center, which is my first mural in Denver, which is 17 feet by 75 feet. We had to find your own wall pretty much. And so I found out that building was just a month old. A director's name was Nick Arguello. And I went to Nick and I go, Nick, how would you like to have a free mural on your wall right here like this? He goes, a free mural? Nothing's free. I go, no, this is free. We have Colorado Paint Company donating the paint, and we're getting paid by City Walls program to do a mural. So everybody else had a mural. Carlos had one, Al Sanchez, and then Steve did one, and then it was my turn to do one. So that's what we did, La Familia Cosmica, and that was probably one of my favorite ones. Like I said, it has the Lost Con of Atlantis underwater, and up on the right side there's a big wave that guides your eye to the left, and right above that is a bunch of stars, and I created a guy named the Star God, and looks like he's throwing a frisbee, well, but he's throwing like a lot of stars out of his hands. I used my cousin Ernie Aragon for the model because he was a bodybuilder at the time. So, okay, let's use you. So I did that pointless kind of technique that I showed you earlier.
Yeah.
So made the Star God up in the sky, and then underwater was that Lost Con of Atlantis, and that's where Steve and Al and everybody we were spending a lot of time doing tropical fish and the Lost Con of Atlantis, a lot of different sculptures of Mayan sculptures, and then
Architecture.
And the architecture of down there too. So that was fun doing that mural, and then we had a opening, and I met Judy Montero, and she was the director of Servicios de la Raza, and so she asked me if I wanted to do a mural on her building and teach a class, be a counselor. I go, yeah, that sounds real good. Well, within that time, Carlos and I went to Zihuatanejo, Mexico, and we did a mural at the library down there. It was kind of like exchange between United States and Mexico. So they were going to have another artist came down to Colorado, and we went down there, and I helped him do the mural. That was pretty darn good. I really enjoyed doing that, but I knew my job was coming up over at Servicios to do that mural. So I missed about 2 weeks of orientation. I was supposed to be a counselor and all this other stuff, but I could teach other people how to do murals without having training to be a counselor or whatever. So,
Sure.
So I got the job, and then we did a mural that year over. It's called Mother Earth, which is 14 feet by 45 feet, and it tells a story of Mother Earth, and she's being born out of the earth. Her spirit's coming out of the earth, and butterflies are the wind, and fire in one hand is the fire, and then water in the other hand. So with earth, wind, fire, water. And there's a wall right there that there was a doorway that was in the wall. So I made like an adobe building, incorporated that wall so it looks like part of the building. And then I had solar energy, and then the adobe walls are like natural insulation, and up in the sky we had like solar panels. And this is like 1980. So we're trying to do solar. I'm trying to think of solar way at an early age.
Yeah.
You know,
We're like ahead of the curve there.
yeah. So I helped this one guy over at over at ATCO Improvement Association in Commerce City. He was making those domes, and he was doing transparent. Well, we were making solar greenhouses. So I learned a lot about him doing that. It was a pretty good thing like that. Just learned about solar. And so here I am over in Denver still, and we're doing all these different murals. And the next year I did Primavera. Was 1981. That mural has been taken off lately. It's some guy bought the building from Servicios, and he just took all
You took all the mural
just took
off.
it all off. It took about 2 weeks to take it off, where it took me about a week to paint it. So we did that mural, and I was teaching kids at Servicios also that. So I had students doing that. These are all these murals I did. The first 3 murals were with students. And then next year we did one over at Flight of the Eagle Dancer over at Aslan Rec Center, and that one was 20 feet by 60 feet.
Wow.
And so that was a Flight of the Eagle Dancer. We had Denver Art Museum sponsor me on doing that project, so it was pretty cool. So I had like about six students help me, and it's still there, and I still hear from some of the students about doing the mural projects back in 40 years ago.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's got to make you feel good.
Yeah.
You had that shared experience with all these people that,
Yeah. I had one student that he was always in trouble. Then he got into drawing and painting, and he goes, I want to bake cakes and do like all these textures on these cakes and stuff. I says, well, what you need to learn how to do palette knife then. So I showed him how to do palette knife, and he was doing these birds with palette knife, and they're really coming out great. He really got confident in what he was doing, started dressing nice, and going to showing people his artwork, and they go, you really change, Angelo. And you could see the change in him, from being in trouble all the time, to being more confident in what he was doing. So,
and art was that gateway
art was a
for
gateway
him
for
to
him.
like make that decision and make that realization.
From being the troublemaker kid, going out and stealing things at the stores and stuff all the time, to being that guy that I have confidence in myself, and I could do this, and I could get girls by doing this stuff. He says, oh, geez, I get recognized, because they show their work like that. And I go, yeah, you can. And it was kind of like a leader of the other guys, and they respected him. So I says, okay, I'd like to appoint one person kind of like to lead from the other students. This way, if you have one guy that's really strong with the group, they'll listen to him.
Yeah, they'll kind of follow suit and go, okay.
So he was that guy. And so when I lived there for the last 4 years in Denver, he was always one of my students. And when we changed studios, he used to come down and work with us. And then when we changed studios, we had a studio right above Mother Earth, and it got too small. We had about 6 different artists in there, and one of the artists was Sam Carbajal, and he used to do stained glass. We had to have a bigger place, and so we moved to St. Patrick's Catholic School, and then they had a basketball court there, and Yeah, we used to play basketball every day, and
So you had
Just
kind
like-
of the best of both worlds, or
yeah, it was good.
a bunch of different worlds.
Yeah, so we could work out, do our artwork there, and then go play basketball, and it was great. I really enjoyed that.
Sounds like a dream, man.
Yeah, that was good. It was good because I was with my friends doing art, and
It doesn't get any better than that, right?
Yeah.
You're surrounded by people that you're inspiring each other.
exactly
You're producing art.
Yeah,
You're making money.
and learning how to do stained glass too a little
Yeah.
bit. Learning from different artists, which was great. So we went from there. We were doing the murals around Denver, and then I got married. I married Marie Frescas. So she's from Brighton, and she moved in with me in Denver, and we were there for about 5 years. Then we moved to Denver, so we're living here in Denver. I mean, North Glen. We're living here in North Glen on by Washington, North Denver. Well, North Glen, as you call it. I don't know. So now we're here, and I'm doing my art, and created a studio, built a new studio that, because like I was living in North Glen and spending $200 a month on a studio in Denver, I thought, well, I could make a studio here instead. So
And not have that additional overhead.
yeah, so
Right?
we built this place here, and it's probably the best thing that I did as an artist, creating a studio so I could work in here. And so I work in here all day long. So Jay, he paints till like about 2 or 3 in the morning sometimes.
It's a beautiful space. So for our listeners, it's an addition to the house, and it's got 2 garage doors. So it's nice. He's able to open it up, and there's a nice breeze today blowing through here. And there's art that is all over just about every part of this studio space. It's got nice big windows. And there's everything from paintings to sculpture to art that's hanging. It's actually a really wonderful space. So, all right, we're going to change gears real quick now, and we're going to jump over to Jay and talk with Jay. So, Jay, what was it like growing up in a artistic household, having your dad, living with your dad, and seeing all the art that he's producing? I got to imagine that, it was just a natural evolution for yourself to become involved in art in some way, shape, or form.
It's been absolutely fantastic. I that's all I know. I grew up, with my dad creating art, being there, during the process, learning firsthand at a very young age. I was always my dad's little sidekick. So, we've been carrying that on. Now I've been creating a lot of murals around Denver, Thornton, Commerce City, even down in Littleton. We've been able to really do some awesome work together. And it's been fantastic just growing at a young age, having my dad, encourage me to play with the paint, have fun, doing little abstract paintings starting off. And now I'm still doing abstract paintings, and now they're selling, and people are paying hundreds of dollars for stuff for me just having fun. This is just my
Part of what you just do, right?
Yeah, this is what I do. So, I feel like, like my dad says, if he's got to be doing art, and it makes him happy. It's self-expression. And then, it feels good to do the public art and show people, yeah, look, this is something that we made for the community, and, everybody respects it. And, they have been very receptive, and but I've always been encouraged by my dad to do art. So no matter if it was, starting off doing contour drawings of, cartoons, learning as a kid, that's helped me to do more figurative work now that I do. And even everything from even playing sports and singing too. So, always being supportive. My parents have always been supportive of me. So, everything that I've been doing, it's been good that have that support system, and learning, having the, my professor here, I graduated from college, but I never took any art classes. I took them here, learning firsthand. But
It's one of the best teachers you could have, right?
absolutely. So that's been it. I've been his apprentice, as we always say. He's the master, I'm the apprentice. So that's how we've had that relationship as a team. And,
Plus, your relationship as a father and son,
absolutely,
is tight. I mean, I know this.
Yeah.
since I've known you, I know that you have a great relationship with your mom and your dad.
Yeah.
And having that shared interest, I think that's important for kids to have that. And what a great way to experience and build that relationship through art, doing something together that's productive and industrious.
Exactly. So I spent a lot of time with my dad, being an only child. So I didn't go to, daycare or anything like that, You
were hanging with dad.
Yeah, I was hanging out with dad and doing art and being there when he's doing his projects. And that's how I learned and been immersed in art my whole life. And I'm still doing it too. And it's been wonderful, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
What a great experience.
Yeah.
So you pretty much have a do-it-yourself art education. Even though you had some formal art education, you're really self-taught, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, and when I say self-taught, I guess that's a loose description, because you were surrounding yourself, as you were educating yourself, you're surrounding yourself with other artists that, you were able to learn from, and then take something that you got from them and apply it to your own art.
Yeah.
And then you growing up with your father and being his sidekick.
Yeah.
You learned all these different techniques, and you've evolved into your own self, your own art, your own art career, essentially.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, because you yourself, you just said you don't have formal art training per se, but I don't think it gets any better than being surrounded by art and not only your dad, but I assume his other artist friends that you've grown up with as well.
Like Carlos Sandoval comes around a lot and paints with us, and so he gets to see Carlos, how he approaches his paintings, which is different, and that's always great to have. Then he buys artwork from different artists too, like Steve Lucero, when he sees what Steve does at his studio, and it's always good to have influences like that.
So I'm going to ask you this: how important is a formal art education, do you think? I'll ask you first, Jerry, and then I'll come to you, Jay.
Well, I think it's good because you'll know, like when I went to school to CU, I took the basic academy, learning how to paint, how to draw more contour drawing, and go from there. And you learn different techniques. Like over at CU, you learn from like I said, you learn from a lot of the students. And there was this one girl in the class, she could really draw. Jeez. Everybody was doing small drawings, about maybe 20 inches, 16 by 20 inch sketches, and she was doing them on big paper. And I go, wow, this girl, so her and I got to be close, watching her technique and stuff. So we used to do collaborative pieces together. So, but she was working with different students like that was fun. I just think that when you try things on your own, you create different techniques that other people don't know. Like when I was doing the painting Snow Goddess, I was brushing my teeth and I splattered a toothbrush on the thing. There's my snow. So I was using the toothbrush to create snowflakes and splatter. So I'd use blue, silver, and white snowflakes in it, and with a toothbrush. And I go, there's got to be a bigger brush. I learned how to use different brushes. So
it's one of those aha moments where it's just some random thing. You're kind of letting your mind just kind of wander, and then you're like, hey, how do I apply that into my
exactly
art?
So it worked out real good, just inventing with a little bit of the snowflakes, and so that's part of my technique a lot now. Using the brush, the splatter technique, it creates different things like sand or whatever. But I like that feel to it.
Jay, how do you feel about art education?
Well,
formal art education, I guess I should.
Well, my first art teacher was my dad, because we didn't have art school in elementary school here.
Really? They didn't teach any art at all?
Nope. So my dad would come in and bring clay for everybody, and we'd do stuff. So my dad was the art teacher. He'd coordinate with the teachers and everybody, and he would do the art sometimes. But we were lucky because if you were in my class, you got to get the art classes. But
Right.
so there's that. But I did art classes, middle school, high school. I was always top of the class, getting featured, and having my art behind glass and things like that, and being in district art shows. But people would say that too. Like they would say, "Oh, well, Jay's an artist." Like I, as a young age, I was like, "Yeah, I am an artist." I embraced it. And, that was something, having your peers believing you at a young age, seeing like, "Oh yeah, he's got it," and they know my dad does it there. So everybody was figured, of course. It didn't feel like pressure to me or anything, but I just felt like, this is my time to shine. But I was in art education in high school. I was able to do work from doing, black and white graphite to doing silver rings, one that I'm still wearing to this day, I made when I was a teenager. So, I mean, that's something that, I was able to really do my thing, studio art. It was fun. And, people didn't know that about me sometimes. Some people knew me for playing basketball for Thornton High School, or they knew me as the artist, or they didn't know what I was about. So it's like, it was always cool having that extra layer. People were saying like, oh wow, like that's really interesting. I didn't know you did that. And, then you open up everything else and the whole world. And so where I really learned, it was not formal education, was painting murals with my dad. So he mentioned Flight of the Eagle Dancer. So that was the first mural that I helped my dad restore. And, we're up on a roof of the rec center, and we're painting on a wall on top of the roof. And that's where I really started. This is 2004. This is 15 years ago. I wanted to go and play basketball all the time because I was playing for the school, and you meet girls around and you're like, hey, this is fun, and then next thing you know, I'm working up there and I see it coming together with my dad being there to help him and learning the different techniques you were talking about. From there, that really instilled a sense of pride for me too, realizing, wow, like I'm a part of something that's big. Like this is huge. People, recognize my dad as like, he's up there, like Colorado artists. And this is before Colorado really blew up with all the murals and stuff, so it was like, wow, I kind of felt like I have to live up to that too, because that's, it's, some people don't do it, like some other artist kids, they feel the pressure, or other great people, they feel like the pressure to living up to their dad. I don't feel pressure. I feel encouragement to become who I am, do my own thing and learn from other people too. Like I've learned from being a part of Journey Through Our Heritage for 5 years. I was, in a leadership position at a young age. I was, the president and treasurer as a, 20-year-old through 24. I was working with people older than me, younger than me. And I was also teaching classes to kids that are 5 to 10 years younger than me. I'm teaching the classes and I'm learning. So I have projects around, like there's a piece like right over here where I painted that. I was learning on the spot too, like teaching it. That helped me really boost up my skills because, almost 10 years ago, I was not the artist I am now. I was just figuring it out. And sometimes they always say this, fake it till you make it. Well, I was winging it and I was having fun. Some of the art was, all right. Some of it's better than others, but, I learned and I'm a lot better from it. And, also attribute a lot of like the aerosol and spray paint that I do now to one of my good buddies, Hector Palacios. Mm-hmm. Without, hanging out with him, being around a lot of other graffiti artists, I don't know how much I would be really attributing aerosol to my art now. But now when I do murals or even smaller, even some canvas work, I'm bringing that component in now too. And that's, learning from our colleagues, seeing what other people do and realizing it because you've done it. You're like, okay, you know how to dissect art. Now Denver is a metropolis for art. I see art in LA, I see art in Chicago and New York, but I think Denver's
up there.
Denver is up there.
And people don't realize that Colorado actually is one of the epicenters of American art. People don't think about it, but there's always been art in a collective of artists working in Colorado.
That's true.
I think it's an overlooked history. People don't realize that there was the whole Colorado Springs collective that was working down there for a number of years. And there's a bunch of famous artists that passed through Colorado. Either they were here working or they passed through and were part of that collective. So, I mean, it's a rich history that I think people don't think of Colorado as being this art epicenter, but it really is. And what you just said, I think, is important. I think it's cyclic, but it's definitely come back into its own again.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some crazy, great stuff that's going on here right now.
There is, and there's a lot of support from, the programming, that's through Denver Arts and Venues, what they're doing with Urban Arts Fund, or the monumental sculptures that we have that, my dad's been able to create with City of Brighton and City of Commerce City, helping commission those works, getting our artwork out with Art on Parade with North Glen, doing the Outside the Box project with Thornton, all these different municipalities supporting art. That's really helped me with my career too. My first commissioned mural was in 2013, and that was with Urban Arts Fund at Ruby Hill, and I worked with Hector Palacios and also a middle school down there to paint. It's a cultural mural, so it's called In Lakesh, which is like, you are my other me. If I do harm to you, I do harm to myself. So it's trying to say, like, if this is your mural, don't take care of what you have and take care of other people. That was the first mural I was commissioned to do, and then graduated from Metro State University. Really, that's when in 2014 with my bachelor's in Chicano Studies and entrepreneurship from the School of Business. So I learned how to be a businessman. So I've been working, doing applications for my dad online all the time, because that's, what I grew up with is computers and things like that. So that stuff's natural to me. So I was able to do that. And then 2015 we blew up. We were restoring Mother Earth, restoring Flight of the Eagle Dancer, painted a mural project in Littleton called Imagine Wall Festival. So we painted a mural of John Lennon. So you have a mural down there called Imagine, of course. And then we did one of Denver's longest murals. It's 10 feet tall, but it's 310 feet wide. And that's on I-25 and 38th at the Regency Student Housing. So that was really cool for me because it has the Roadrunners on there. And that's where I was like, okay, Dad, I'm going to paint the Roadrunners because I'm a Roadrunner. I graduated from there, So painted that first. That's where I feel like also started taking off more because I was kind of like, okay, I don't want to mess this up. This is my dad's work, but I just went for it. I stopped thinking so much about messing up and just making it my own. That came along. Then I started doing the Outside the Box, and then I got the pilot project for that with City of Thornton. And that was, first gig for me. These are on electrical boxes around town, and everybody around here loves them. Did that for a couple of years. In 2016, 2017, I worked as a after-school program coordinator at the Adams 14 School District at Adams City High School and Lester Arnold High School, which is the alternative school for the district. So I worked with kids tutoring them, but also being an art teacher and a basketball coach. So it was fun because I got to, continue learning on the job. Really, I painted murals, and it was like continuation of what I was doing with Journey Through Our Heritage. But I was painting murals at their school now with the kids. That really helped with school spirit, and the kids, they had something to be proud of. A lot of the kids were feeling like nobody cared. So it was cool being a part of that.
And mentor these kids.
Yeah. To
create something and own it.
Yep.
And be a part of something in their community, something bigger than themselves.
That's true.
Being part of something, feeling like they belong.
Absolutely. So everything I've done, it's been community based. I've worked with the public in every job I've had since 2008, since I started working out of high school. Now I'm seeking my master's in public administration from the University of Colorado, Denver and Colorado Springs. And after that, right now, I'm also running for city council. So I'm all over, trying to do good for the community. And this has been just a wild ride. And this is another component to it. So I've been really, happy with having support from the community and being able to really grow into these positions and really being able to live, like virtues that I want to live through, like taking care of our community, doing public art, and then also just being the change you want to see in the world. Right. So that's.
So I this is probably a stupid question. Or there are no stupid questions, right, Todd? So you've been shadowing your dad for a number of years. When did you really feel like you kind of had your own style, vision kind of thing, where you started to see yourself separated? And maybe I'm making an assumption that's not there, but I would assume, this is my assumption, that if I was shadowing my father, a lot of my style would reflect his style. Mm-hmm. And then there's got to be a point where you separate from yourself or from him and have your own style. Was there a moment like, or not a moment, but was there a progression like that?
Yeah, I'd say the time between 2016, 2017, like right after that time where we were really busy in 2015 doing the murals together, where I was applying all those lessons, all that hands-on experience, I was applying that towards doing murals on my own. And that really helped too, is saying, this is my project, and I'm gonna, at that point I'm 25 years old, so I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be out there, spreading my wings and flying now. So I'd say that's probably around the time. That's 2015, 2016, 2017. I see a project that I'm working with my dad. I'm like, hey Dad, you should try this, or let me try this, and we'll collaborate. And he's like, oh wow, that looks great. I'm like, yeah, I know. I was just like, I just saw an opportunity for it to, grow from what it is, and we have a really good relationship where we can bounce ideas off each other, and I'm able to, say like, oh, he trusts me with what I'm doing, and
right.
And yeah, I'd say that's around the time where I felt like I was able to be myself.
Right.
Yeah, it's turned into, from learning Cubism. I learned that from my dad, but I feel like I've been able to really utilize that in a lot of the artwork that I do, a lot of the spray paint that I talk about, aerosol. I learned that from my other friends and, incorporated that. Abstracts, where I was just having fun and, going back to my, roots when I was telling you about when I first started as a baby, just doing abstract art and just putting it all together. Haven't looked back. I'm still doing it every day.
Yeah.
With everything going on, with school and work or everything, I still got to do my art.
Right. So Jerry, I'm going to flip the question kind of. So did you see a moment where, maybe he's following your kind of guidance and stuff, where he started to spread away? And how did that make you feel as a father and an artist?
So what really, when I saw the change in him when we were doing the Roadrunners. So everything we were doing, we were just putting like base colors on it. And then at that point, he started to come over and taking control. And then I go, okay, I'll go like this. He goes, no. He started doing it. And I go, okay, I see what you're doing. And because we wanted to create movement with the Roadrunner to make it look. So we were putting like little cubistic kind of little kind of shapes in there to make it look like it's moving. And at that point, I go, okay, you understand what you're doing with the aerosols. So I says, okay, you could work with the aerosols because they're quick. Like on that project, it was so big, I had to use an airless sprayer to put some base colors down, and then each figure came over with hand done painting until he started using the aerosols, and they started going quicker and learning little quicker techniques too. That me as old school. I learned from him on those, a lot of aerosol and stuff. So that's kind of good to learn different techniques from him now. So
right,
good.
Yeah, it's come like full circle where you and you start out well, and you do, like you said, you hang around artists long enough, you see different techniques that they do and like incorporate that. So it's really cool to see that both of you are now teacher and student together. Yeah. And since you were talking about running for city council, this is a question that Todd and I were rummaging over yesterday. Is like, what's the role, and not necessarily because of the political atmosphere now, but what's the role of art in politics?
I think art really displays where we're at culturally as human race. I think now that art is so welcomed and everybody is on board with it, it didn't used to be that way. Okay. So I remember my dad trying to get art projects, and we would try to get like, nope, we don't have any money for that. Now it's like the local government is like, yes, we want public art. That's something that local government, which I'm going into, is very supportive of. You'll see more people when they do like more political work. I like to just celebrate life and beauty of life. I'm not too political in my artwork. I like to have a message, but it's always positive. I don't like to dwell on the negativity because, that's just not my character. I like to celebrate instead of, dwelling on, feeling, stuff. I want people to look at the art and feel happy and feel, because it makes a positive impact that way. And that's the way I want to go about it when I do my art, is make a positive impact for somebody's day. When they see it, they smile, they feel better. They smile at the next person. That person pass that same good vibes on, and that's what I'm really trying to do. I'm glad that Colorado's local government has really supported art, because it's made our state and our metro area a lot better place to live, I feel.
So your tagline could be "Art is contagious."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is. It's just, you see it go, it's just been Denver, and then it's just spreading out, and everybody around is hopping on board, and it's a wonderful time to be an artist.
It's a good community.
Yeah.
I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. I've known you for a while, Jay. I think I met you when you were probably still a high school student. Definitely your freshman year of college, but I think I even met you before then.
Maybe.
And the characteristics that I see in you are now apparent as we sit down and have this conversation, because you acquired this role of leader, being a leader, from your dad. I mean, that was passed, the baton has been passed down to you as far as being a leader, giving back to your community, and making a positive impact, which are things that, as you were talking about your history, Jerry, these are things that you did from the very beginning. You were a leader in the art community, being a founder of Chalk, and working in the community, doing murals and all the other work that you did, volunteering in Jay's classroom when they didn't have an art program in the schools. That just gets transferred to the next generation. And now you've taken it and you're running with it.
Yeah.
And doing the exact same thing.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty cool.
We're passing the torch on to them.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
And that's important. That's important stuff. Good for you for doing that. And I've seen all the work that you've done and all the kids that you've been able to mentor. That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah,
and especially somebody as young as you are.
Thank you.
Yeah. Pretty phenomenal. All right, we're going to change gears real quick. My next question has to do with art and money. Good thing, bad thing?
Yeah,
How do you feel about that? You like making money?
I do, and I've learned what's the best way to go about it. And that really is public art. I've been talking about the cities being behind it. That's where we're able to make the most impact of having people see it. And you make a nice paycheck, which we all need. If there's one word to describe myself when I'm in my artistic mentality, is called an entrepreneur. I'm an artist entrepreneur. And I think artists need to learn how to make money for themselves. And you have to be able to speak about it, write about it, and also show people. Now with social media, it's really easy. So artists they're able to be their own promoters. And I encourage artists to apply for these art projects, these public art projects, because it's our livelihood. We have this joke that when everybody wants you to do something for free, like, oh, well, you'll get exposure. And we'll say, well, people die of exposure, So I'm like, we're like, yeah, you gotta make a living, right? I mean, I gotta have a roof over my head, gotta have, food, put gas in my tank or whatever, like whatever it is, like, people don't realize. I think people do realize, but they don't think about it. They take advantage, I think, of a lot of artists' good, their soul. Like we have good souls, we're good people. So, I think, money is, it's what our society's built upon. That's you have to have it, and you just got to learn how to acquire it. and how to be smart about it. There's the people who, you know, like they're comfortable being, you know, in the basement and do it in the studio and doing that. But if you really want to be successful, you're going to have to build up your resume, you know, get those photos of art that you do, apply for these projects. If you land one, do the best of your ability, and then the rest will follow suit. You know, it'll be the audition for the next one. You know, it's really evidence-based and also experience, really, like, you know, showing people performance. This is what I can do. So you gotta continue proving yourself, but also growing each project that you do. And I've been, you know, able to learn how to use my skills as a writer to write about, you know, what our plans are. Mm-hmm. So, you know, to get your artwork out there, you got to be able to write about it too. That might be difficult for some people, but you know, you got to.
It's a skill set you need to have, right?
Yeah, it is a skill set.
You need to be able to communicate, and I think that's something that gets overlooked these days. And especially if you're an artist, you're probably not thinking, "Hey, I need to be able to," you know, like you were saying, you could be in your studio or basement creating your art, but if you want to promote yourself and do projects, you need to be able to communicate your ideas appropriately to the powers that be, so you can get that kind of work, right?
That's absolutely
so communication is important.
Communication.
So don't take that for granted as far as your ability to speak, whether speaking in front of people or just present yourself, you know, to a small group. And then the written word still comes into play, like being able to verbalize your ideas on the written page or digitally in this day and age. A lot of times it's important still.
Yeah, because every project that you apply for, you have to have a proposal or an introduction, which is like your cover letter, right? You know, and you got to have your resume. It's like you apply for a job every single project that you do.
Every time out, right?
So you got to continue updating that. And I think that's one bit of advice I'd give for any artist who wants to really make it as an artist. You got to be able to communicate, you know, because I feel like some artists, they are better at showing than telling. That's a lot of times, you know, I could tell you everything about my art, I could show you, but you also got to be able to paint the picture in people's minds before it's even painted. You know, you got to have that vision, put it on, you know, put it in words, and then be able to manifest it when the time comes.
It usually comes out different. Sometimes, Because, okay, that's what it is, but it always comes out good. So.
Right. Yeah. It evolves organically itself. Even as a photographer, sometimes I have these, you know, before when people either need me to shoot something for them that is kind of a concept or an idea, I kind of get my visual in my mind. And when I get together with the person or I get on location or whatever, it always evolves. It's never like exactly the way I anticipate it going.
Most times it comes out better too. So.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes there's this happy accident. It's like
exactly.
You didn't realize that there was going to be an element to it that you didn't pre-visualize, and you get there and you're like, oh, okay, we're going to change directions here. Now I have a totally different idea for how we can incorporate a little bit of my original vision, but now it's going to go this direction.
Well, that's what's good with working with Jay, because it'll come up a little bit different than when I visualize it, and it's always good. So
it's nice to have that collaboration, right?
Yeah, and he's quicker than I am now, so putting color down, I'm a little bit slower at my older age. He just gets down pretty good with his techniques. When you're doing like murals, you got to learn how to get on ladders. And now in my old age, I don't want to get on too many ladders after seeing some of my friends falling off ladders and breaking stuff.
Right.
I'm still going to do it. I don't care. I'll just keep doing it. I'll be doing art still.
So what different avenues of making money do you do? Commissions for private individuals or companies? And is that approach any different, or is it the same as doing community projects?
Usually they come to me then, different businesses, if they want like murals done on a sign painted or whatever, because most sign painters now are just plastic. They just put those wraps now. So there's not really a sign painter. It's mostly you could use your computer and do all that stuff with the computer.
Right.
As if you do like this one place called the Glen over here in North Glen, and he goes, can you paint a mural of an old sign and make it look like the sign's cracking and all the paint's coming off? And I go, yeah, I could do that. And so you got to think of how it's going to be the cracking type of effect without having it crack. So
Right.
what I did is I painted the whole thing, and I came over and I used like a rag technique, threw it on the wall, and then I repainted over that still. So it has like the rack, it looks like it's cracked in places, and it looks like the paint's chipping and stuff. So it's every job is different. So that's what's kind of fun, like being an artist, because every technique's different. And what I'd like to do still, I still like to design cars. I want to design cars, build them, design like a Corvette, a 4-seater Corvette. I have a little model back there I was doing out of balsa wood.
Right.
And so I thought, well, I always liked the first year they made the Corvette. So I made a design like that out of balsa wood, but it has like modern type of headlights going to have it on it. But I want to design a new car. I want to design a car, mostly electric car. It was something like that would be fun.
And this is, I think this is probably a great time to get into that kind of, as far as the time, we have a lot of independent car companies coming out. I could see that as a valid way of getting some work too, is in that modeling.
Yeah. I'd like to make like I said, design a car that I was even thinking of how I was going to put the batteries in it for how I'd do it on the bottom of the frame, how it should carry the weight. And there's so many things I got to learn about solar energy though first before I do all that stuff. But as far as designing the flowing motion of the car, I think I could do a really nice job. I think I can make them look like sharks or like birds or whatever that flows through the sky. I think that'd be a fun thing to do.
So let me ask you about how you sell your art, because obviously you have these commissions to do murals and public art, both of you. But I mean, you do a lot of different things. Are you represented in any kind of gallery? Do you sell online? You have a barrage of collectors that just know you and will buy your art. How do you go about selling your art?
I was shown in a couple galleries, one in Taos and one in Scottsdale. So that was like during the winter, those were really selling good, Scottsdale especially. Jay's worked with the online with my work. Then mostly follow through people. What I do, like sculptures, like Pepe Mendez. He used to be a big time lawyer in Denver. He buys stone sculpture for me. So mostly repeat customers. And
so would you say the majority of it is repeat customers, collectors? You have like a number of collectors that like will just show up or reach out to you, or you reach out to them and you say, hey, I have these new pieces. Would you like to stop by the studio and check them out? Or how does that work?
Well, I should be doing more of that. So I live in Northglenn. Everybody goes, oh, that's a long way from Denver. It's like about 15 miles away.
And it's not. But it's funny how everybody kind of gets like pigeonholed into their own little areas. And they don't venture out. Like it's not that far.
Yeah. Yeah. So like when I was in Denver, everything was there, I'm only 12 miles away, so whatever.
Yeah.
So it's no big deal.
Didn't take me very long to get here today.
Yeah. I'd like to do more art in Denver, but I've been doing a lot of art here in the Northglenn area too, the Thornton area. So we're getting represented here last few years, especially with Jay helping me out.
It's nice to have a younger generation that understands the social media aspect and can help promote.
Yeah. He's the one that's doing that.
I'm going to enlist my own children to help me do that because I don't understand any of it. I'm dumb when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah. Jay's good at that.
So Jay, how do you promote yourself?
My fine art, I promote it on Facebook and Instagram. So those are my two main avenues I go through. So I have my Facebook art page, or it's a like page, it's facebook.com/art by Jaramillo. And I put my art on there every time I finish a piece. I put it up there, and I have a following of over 600 people who check that out on Facebook. And then I have my Instagram where I put more of my art too and the personal stuff, and that's at Jaramillo. And I have over 1,200 followers on there. I like to update it every time I get a new piece. I put it out there, and then people will, they'll see it, they'll react to it. And then sometimes you'll have people that'll message you back and say, hey, I want this piece. Can you do this? And then you get the commission works, and it goes from there. But it's social media. And to be successful nowadays, you have to have a presence on social media. Otherwise, because everybody's on their phone or their computer, tablet, whatever, they're glued to it. You post something, it's going to show up right there. You can have a gallery, you can have your artwork up in a gallery or wherever. The lights are off, the door's closed, nobody goes to see it. It's like it don't exist. On social media, you can always pull it up. You can.
The store is always open.
Yep, it's always open. So that's what I'd recommend for any artist too, is you have to have your artwork on social media, and you got to get it out there regularly and keep people interested, right? And I wanted to see more and seeing that you're producing.
Let me ask you this. Where does the price point start in your art? Where does it start and where does it go to?
Well, it's going up now. Now everything's getting more expensive now. So when I first started, I had friends, childhood friends that were buying paintings. When I first started selling more of my paintings, like in 2014, I was selling them from like, $40, $60. And now I'm selling paintings for $200, $250. But I price them a lot higher, especially when you're showing in an art gallery, because they want to take a percentage, whether it's 30%, 50%. You got to bump up the price. So I have artwork that goes up to, I was going up to $2,500 to, but $1,000. I try to keep my stuff, my art, so it's accessible for people to acquire, especially people my age. I don't want to outprice my market, but if I'm putting out some awesome work and it's out there in a gallery, I'll have to bump it up. But sometimes after the show, I'm like, hey, I'm taking down the show. I don't have anywhere to put the art. I'm running out of room. I'll give people better deals, especially if they're return customers, as you said, collectors. Yeah, the price has gone up. I don't do anything for less than $100, $150 now, just because that's where I'm at in my career. And I mean, that's a good deal still, but I still want people to have my art. I don't,
You're not giving it away.
I'm not so much giving it away, but also a lot of those pieces that were smaller that were selling for around $60, that was learning. These were pieces where I was figuring it out. I have established myself as an artist for my, own career. So I have to, roll with how much everything costs now,
Right. You have materials, you have your own expenses.
Yep, that's true.
Everything costs money, man.
That's true.
So Jerry, let's talk about pricing for your art, since you've been doing this and been in the game longer. Where does the pricing kind of start? What realm does it start, and where does it go from?
Okay, it depends. Like paintings, I could start like from $100 up to, $2,000. Okay, the sculptures, they take a lot of time. It's stone sculpture, so it's a lot of time working. So
a lot of hours, right?
A lot of hours, a lot of polishing, so a lot of my pieces start from about 2,000 up to, 12,000. So those big pieces like that, those have to be municipal or somebody that has big bucks, lawyer. But not everybody wants like sculptures in the front yards. But
I think that should be the new thing.
Yeah, I think everybody
Seriously,
should have a
that'd be
sculpture in
cool.
the front yard, by me and Jay. Yeah, I think everybody should have artwork in their community. So if you could have it in your own neighborhood, that's even better. I think they should paint like bridges, like they do in New Mexico. I think they should fix up just about everything that needs to be painted in the state. Should be do murals on them or create sculptures or mosaics in the city, because people go, no, that's brick. You don't want to paint over that.
Why not, right?
But some need to be painted over.
Yeah,
and because I hate to paint over brick myself, but if it's really graffiti through the years, it's better to do a mural or something on that.
So say you have a buyer that just loves a piece of your art. Are you willing to work with them, not necessarily on a negotiation on price, but do you offer like a payment plan type of thing? Could they like give you a deposit and say, you know, I don't have $1,000, but I could give you $250 now, and then work out some kind of payment plan with you over time? Is that something
I've done that before? Yeah,
you've done that before?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I like they'll give me 50% down, and then they'll do their payments of like maybe $100 a month. I sold a sculpture to this one gentleman. That's how we went. Like, so every Friday he'd go, okay, I give you $100 on Friday on payday. So that works out like that. But, so just 50%, then like that. And I let him have the piece. I know where you live.
Right.
Right.
What about this? What about pets and small children? Do you take those as deposits?
No.
Could we work out some?
Just that one time with Jay, but no, I'm not. No, I'm making that up. I did do that. Just kidding.
Well, good. I think that's the reason I asked this question, because I think a lot of times people walk into gallery spaces or, you know, into artist studio, and they like stuff, but they think, oh well, I can't afford that. You know, they don't realize that if they talk to the artist, almost always you can work something out.
Yeah, you can
whatever, you know, whether it's your 50% down or
Exactly.
25% down or 30% down, whatever it may be, just as long as it's not the pets and small children.
Yeah. So I've done that a few times. Like, we had art shows, and they go, wow, that's $1,000 for that piece right there. I go, well, the gallery gets 50%. So if you buy it out of my house, I could give you a better deal.
Sure.
Because like the gallery,
You're dealing
Yeah.
direct with the artist.
yeah, because the gallery is going to get 50%.
Yeah, they take a huge cut.
And most people can't afford that. So
Right.
buy directly from me and buy soon.
Right. Don't wait.
So if there's a young artist out there that's really trying to do it full time, I want to quit my job at the grocery store and paint, what's the biggest advice that you could give them?
I think you better have like an inventory to start off with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, have like 20 pieces of art that you could go about any place, and then just go out and have an art show any place. Keep your prices low and just go over and have a show, if you could, with another artist, and try to make it more of a social thing. If you could have like music involved somehow, and so people could see your art that way, and I think that might be about the best way.
Yeah, I'd say align with other artists, because I've kind of went that route for a little while, but I still would encourage having a part-time job. And also, you know, I would recommend that, you know, just to keep that happening, you know, cash flowing. But I would recommend aligning with an organization that, you know, has a cause. Like when I was also with Journey Through Our Heritage, we also had social action through art, and we were all artists, and they were, you know, they're poets. They did, you know, hip hop, you know, all kinds of different kinds of art forms. And then we would just post up our art on a table or on the corner of 8th and Santa Fe or something, you know, where people are at, and just post up and sell your art, like market, like you see how they've been doing it for, you know, centuries, how they market art that way. I mean, go to where people are checking out art, and like you said, keep the prices low. That's where I've sold some little paintings for, you know, anywhere from 20, 40, $60 around there, and people have that, and then they can, you know, take it right there, and it's cool. And I'd also recommend with the social media, maybe take a picture with the person or the person with the art and post it, because then people see the person, and maybe you tag them and they say, oh, look, that's a person that I know. They collect your art. Wow, that's cool. They, you know, it's something that I think people will see it, and once they see that your art is selling, they'll say, oh wow, you know, they take you a lot more serious. They don't, you know, think it's like, oh, that's like a hobby. Unless you just do this just for fun and you don't make any money at it, you know. I think people take you serious when they see people holding it and happy, you know. You hand that piece, and then they're holding it, or you're there with them, and you know, it'll be contagious in that point where, you know, okay, on to the next one. Oh, I sold one. That felt good. I have money in my pocket. I have expendable income now, or, you know, I could do something that I've been wanting to do. It motivates you to want to make more, but also sell more. So I'd say just get out there, get it on social media. If you can't be out in a gallery or showing or let's say it's not First Friday, right? You know, got to push it. And thankfully, we have all those social media outlets I was telling you about. If you don't have those, you're out of the game for real. Like I'd recommend you make that art page, you know, and put stuff out there constantly.
So as artists and listening to this podcast, what question would you want us to ask other artists? As an artist, if you're listening to this podcast, what question, is there something that you can think of that we should be asking other artists as we continue on this journey?
Why? Why?
Why
do they do art?
Yeah.
Do they do it for themselves? Do they do it for other people? Or some people just have to do it. I have to do it. You know, like I said before, I says, if I'm not creating that day or something, I get really mad at myself and I go, geez, I got to do something. I got to be productive that day. At least start something. If I get starts every day, that's what it's about. And
just part of your DNA, right?
Yeah. Other responses from other people, why they do art. So that might, because I make money, because I enjoy it. There's more to it. You know, you feel it. It's just you sometimes. It's just got to do it.
Yeah.
Jay?
I'd ask them how do you envision your art going forward? Like what is the pinnacle of what your art's going to be? Do you envision it, you know, remaining small, maybe oil paintings? Or are you just going to do, you know, just stay on a certain size of canvas? Are you going to only do a certain wall to do a mural? Are you going to just do smaller stone sculptures? Are you going to do large sculptures? What do you see as your pinnacle? And what do you have to do to get there? What do you have to learn? What kind of art, what kind of medium are you going to venture off into? Are you going to stay doing the same thing? You know, you're going to stay in your comfort zone? Or are you going to, you know, take it to where it needs to be, or just stay comfortable? Because I've seen people like start doing art, they're really good, but then they get discouraged and they stop doing it. You know, maybe they get comfortable in, you know, working. Maybe they do have that full-time job or whatever, you know, maybe they just do that and then they come home and they don't want to do that. You know, when I come home, I like to work and have that steady pay, but I also like to think about what I'm going to do when I get home in the studio, or if I'm, you know, typing up a proposal, like having a job where I can, you know, work on stuff on the side too. You know, I'd say like, what can you do to do your art, but also like live in the society that we live in? You know, we have to, it's tough making it just doing your art. Like, what are you going to do to get that public art bid? Because that's really where the money is at, you know, and unfortunately you can't just make a great piece and expect that somebody's going to want to buy it from like pricing. You know, people say like, I can't afford that, or, you know, you got to be able to be sustainable. And a lot of the times it's not solely art. That's why I'm learning to, you know, continue my education and realizing that, you know, I want to become an administrator. I've administered art projects before. I know there's artists out there far more talented than me. Like I know what they do, like see these guys and it's amazing. Like, wow, okay. I want to help those people get these opportunities. I want to help build mural programs so we can have more public art. I mean, you gotta think, you know, down the line too. Like, don't get me wrong. I want to, you know, come home and do that artwork and show my art and still do public art in different municipalities. But you have to think about am I going to be able to sustain this and what I need to do? And it's been a journey. We've had some projects that have helped our family out quite a bit. And you gotta think about how you're gonna make it happen. You know, there's got to be a game plan, business plan.
Jay, if people want to see your art, if they want to purchase art, what do they need to do to find you?
Yep, you can find me on Facebook at Art by J Michael J, and on Instagram at J Michael J. That's JAYMICHAEL and the letter J. And you can find me on Facebook, J Michael Jaramillo. I can direct you to my different avenues. You can email me at jmichaeljaramillo@gmail.com. call me or text me at 720-620-6203. So you got to have that. Got to have the business ready to go. So I've been trained in this in different areas, and I want to make an impact as an artist, but also help other artists too. And I've been able to do that with my dad. And this has been a dream come true, and it's still going on. And I appreciate you guys, really highlighting artists and having their voice heard. And I'm really excited to see, how everybody else you cover, because I know you've already reached out to some amazing artists like Stevan Lucero. We've talked to him. He's a philosopher. He is, meta-realism. I've enjoyed hearing conversations between him and my dad. 4 years looking at his awesome paintings and wondering, like, how do you get that good? It's cool because you see it and you learn, and it happens. I want to say that I appreciate my dad being supportive of me doing my art. I want to do this for many more years together.
Jerry, how do people find you if they want to see your art and purchase?
Jay, you're my agent.
You go to jerryjaramillo.net. You can look at his art there. We have to update it quite a bit, but you can find him there. And Chalk Gallery, Chicano Humanities Arts Council. We'll have our art there on First Fridays. You don't have to show up only on First Fridays, but we'll be there on First Fridays, especially when we're showing.
And that location is at?
2nd and Santa Fe on the Santa Fe Arts District. So we're at the beginning of the Santa Fe Arts District. We were at the center. Now we're at the beginning, 222 Santa Fe Drive. It's West Denver. Yeah, you can come down to our home studio, gallery / museum, I want to say, of Jaramillo artwork. And we're up here in North Glen. You can come and find us, 11569 Ogden Street, North Glen, Colorado, 80233. You can call us at 303-252-4530. And you can email my dad at jj1artist@comcast.net.
Fantastic. Well, I have one more question before we leave today. This is my random question of the week. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Face tattoos, underrated or overrated?
Overrated.
For me as a millennial, it's overrated. I don't like them. I wouldn't have one, but I mean, some people get them, and it's really either it's helping or hurting your career, depending on which direction you want to go. You either want to like not be employed, or that's not playing your plan. You're planning on not being employed, and you're going to do something like, rap or become or you're a tattoo artist or something, that works for you guys doing that. But for me, it doesn't work for me. I have 0 tattoos. I express myself through my art. So
we don't need tattoos. Yeah. I don't have any either.
I don't have any tattoos either, but I feel like the face tattoo is totally underrated, because if you have the balls to tattoo your face, I feel like you've made a serious life decision that is going to be impactful forever until you leave this planet. So, you know what? If you have a face tattoo, more power to you. I'm not getting one anytime soon.
Yeah.
But
no way for me.
Wes, you have any thoughts on that?
I kind of go with Jay and Jerry. I think they're totally overrated, and I would never get one. And I hope to God, my
I
kid.
think you look great with a face tattoo, actually.
Yeah, like the Oatman lady with the little tattoo on her chin. And I hope to God my son and my daughter or grandkids don't get face tattoos. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Thank you for humoring my little bit of silliness there, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Jerry, Jay, I really appreciate it. This is Tenet.